For decades, the UFO subject lived in the shadows, dismissed, mocked, buried beneath conspiracy theories and science fiction. But now, the world has changed. Military pilots are speaking publicly. Radar operators are describing impossible objects. Government agencies are admitting something unexplained is operating in our skies. And suddenly, millions of people are asking a question humanity has never seriously confronted before. What happens if we're not alone? For some people, that question is exciting. For others, it's terrifying. But for many Christians, it creates a deeper fear. Because if non human intelligence exists, what does that mean for the Bible, for creation, for God? Would disclosure destroy Christianity? Or could faith survive a reality far stranger than humanity expected? Tonight, we investigate one of the most controversial subjects in the entire UAP conversation. Not whether UFOs are real, not whether governments are hiding information, but whether Christianity itself can survive the possibility that humanity may not be alone. This is UFO to UAP The Disclosure Report. I'm your host, Matt Tones. Thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is called UFOs and Christianity. Can faith survive the UAP reality? Please subscribe and share the episode. For many Christians, the UFO topic immediately triggers discomfort. Not curiosity, not investigation, fear, because the implications feel enormous. If intelligent non-human beings exist, people immediately begin asking, was humanity special? What about salvation? What about angels? What about demons? What about Genesis? And beneath all of those questions is one deeper fear. What if the modern UFO reality destroys biblical belief entirely? That fear is more common than many people realize, because religion has historically provided humanity with the framework for understanding existence itself. Who are we? Why are we here? What created us? What exists beyond death? For centuries, faith answered those questions. But now modern disclosure is introducing something new into the equation. The possibility that reality itself may be far more complicated than humanity assumed. And for many believers, that feels destabilizing. But here's what's important. Christianity has survived world-changing revelations before, again and again and again. There was a time when humanity believed Earth sat at the center of the universe. Then astronomy shattered that belief. The Earth wasn't the center, the sun was. And suddenly people feared religion would collapse. It didn't. Then came evolution. Again, people declared Christianity was finished. It survived. Then science revealed something even more staggering. The universe wasn't small, it was unimaginably vast. Billions of galaxies, countless stars, possibly endless worlds. And still, faith endured. Why? Because Christianity adapted, not by abandoning belief, but by recognizing that expanding knowledge does not automatically eliminate God. And that matters enormously in the UFO conversation, because many people assume if extraterrestrial intelligence exists, Christianity fails. But historically, faith has repeatedly survived humanity discovering that creation is larger than expected. In many ways, that pattern is already happening again. Modern audiences often forget how strange the Bible actually is, because growing up in religion, people normalize stories that are objectively extraordinary. But step back for a moment and look carefully. Throughout Scripture, we find accounts of beings descending from the heavens, pillars of fire, radiant clouds, visions in the sky, voices from above, objects moving with impossible motion. and encounters beyond ordinary human understanding. One of the most discussed examples is Ezekiel, a prophet describing wheels within wheels, flashing light, metallic brilliance, and movement unlike anything familiar to human experience. For decades, some researchers have attempted to reinterpret these accounts as ancient UFO encounters. Now, to be clear, that does not prove extraterrestrials visited ancient civilizations, but it does reveal something important. Human beings have always struggled to describe experiences beyond their understanding. Ancient people interpreted extraordinary events through spiritual language. Modern civilization interprets extraordinary events through technological language. And maybe both groups are trying to explain something fundamentally mysterious. That possibility changes the conversation completely. One reason many churches reject the UFO topic entirely is because they fear spiritual deception. And honestly, some of those concerns are understandable. Parts of UFO culture absolutely drift into dangerous territory. Cult behavior, false prophecy, messianic claims, apocalyptic obsession, manipulation, blind belief. Those risks are real. But here's the problem: fear is not investigation. And historically, Christianity was never meant to avoid difficult questions. In fact, many of the great theological thinkers in history confronted uncertainty directly, because truth does not fear examination. Avoiding reality does not protect faith, it protects comfort. And that distinction matters because modern disclosure is forcing humanity into uncomfortable territory, not just scientifically, but spiritually. This is one of the most emotionally charged questions in the entire Christian UFO debate. Some believers are convinced that the phenomenon is demonic, that UFOs are spiritual deception designed to mislead humanity. Others reject that completely. The problem is, nobody actually knows, and intellectual honesty matters here. Because despite decades of speculation, there is still no definitive evidence proving UFOs are extraterrestrial, or that UFOs are angels, or UFOs are demons, or even that UFOs are interdimensional beings. The phenomenon remains unresolved, and uncertainty creates discomfort. Humans crave certainty, especially during periods of social instability. But reality does not always provide immediate answers, and maybe that's one of the most important lessons in this entire discussion. Sometimes mystery remains mystery. Now, we arrive at the deeper question. If intelligent, non human life exists, would that actually disprove God? Or would it simply expand humanity's understanding of creation? Now, think carefully about that. The universe already contains billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, worlds humanity will never reach, and realities we barely comprehend. Would additional intelligence truly diminish divinity, or would it make existence even more extraordinary? For many theologians, the existence of other intelligent beings would not destroy Christianity at all. It would simply mean humanity is not the entirety of creation. And honestly, that possibility may fit scripture more comfortably than people realize, because the Bible repeatedly reminds humanity of one thing: human understanding is limited. That has always been part of the spiritual worldview. One reason the UFO subject creates so much confusion is because the phenomenon refused to behave like normal technology. Witnesses frequently describe experiences involving missing time, altered consciousness, telepathic impressions, overwhelming emotional reactions, and profound psychological transformation that creates a strange overlap between technology, psychology, and spirituality. And this is exactly why the phenomenon remains so difficult to categorize, because it doesn't behave like ordinary aerospace engineering. which means both scientists and theologians are entering unknown territory together. And maybe that's why this conversation feels so destabilizing, because modern civilization prefers categories: science, religion, technology, spirituality. But the UAP phenomenon repeatedly blurs those boundaries. Maybe the biggest mistake in this entire discussion is assuming Christians must choose between faith and investigation, because those things are not opposites. The existence of unexplained phenomenon does not automatically eliminate God, and faith does not erase mystery. If anything, the UAP conversation may be forcing humanity to rediscover something ancient civilizations already understood, that reality is stranger than we want it to be. And maybe humility, not certainty, is the correct response. For thousands of years, human beings have looked into the sky searching for meaning. Ancient prophets describe luminous visions. Civilizations recorded signs in the heavens. Many governments now admit unidentified phenomena continue to exist. But perhaps the most important realization is this: acknowledging mystery is not the same as abandoning faith. The existence of unexplained phenomena may not destroy Christianity at all. It may simply remind humanity that creation itself is far larger, far deeper, and far more mysterious than we ever imagined. This has been UFO to UAP, the Disclosure Report. I'm your host, Matt Tones. Thank you for listening in. Please subscribe and share the episode.